When I was starting out, I had this very misplaced idea that you had to be one thing as an artist. That you were either a filmmaker, or you were an actor, or you were a photographer, or you were whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever
Yes.
that thing was.
Totally.
And as I journeyed, I realized that was bad for my creativity. That was suffocating for my creativity. And I need multidisciplinary art in order to feel fulfilled and keep me engaged. It's a bit like going back in time.
Welcome to Matt's house.
Yeah, welcome. So,
When was this place built?
this was built in either 1938 or 1939. And we are standing in the wood shop that was probably original to the house. This workbench here, probably built by the original owner.
How does it feel to be creating in a space with so much legacy to it?
I mean, it feels like I'm a part of history. You participate as an artisan in this thing that people have been doing for generations.
What are you working on today?
So one of the things that I love is in woodworking, you build your own tools a lot of the time. So I have been devoting myself to mallets for quite a while.
Whoa.
And this was my go-to mallet for a long time. And it's funny because they iterate, right? So I'm huge on iteration. So this was my first mallet. And you can see this was a smaller mallet, smaller
Yeah.
head, different design. I wanted something heavier.
Yeah.
So I built another one. And if you listen,
Whoa, what's that rattle going on in there?
it's filled with BBs. So yeah, it's
okay.
filled with lead BBs. So I wanted something heavier, but the problem was it compromised the integrity. So if you can kind of see, it crushed the sides.
So
Yeah.
what would you use this for?
All sorts of things, but like chiseling,
Okay.
persuading things to move.
Cool. This one has a lot more girth to it.
Right.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, but it's also kind of almost a maraca.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
little bit of an
yeah.
instrument to
It's gotten even noisier as it's started to fall apart. But
Cool.
And so now I'm moving on to the next iteration of the mallet, which is a single solid piece, not filled with BBs, but made from a very dense wood. This is from a Brazilian chestnut
Whoa.
wood. So it's very dense, very heavy.
That's cool.
I've already fashioned the head of the mallet, and I'm going to be fashioning the handle today. One of the things that's really important to me when it comes to woodworking is being able to feel like I'm connected to that lineage as I go. And so as much as, I think there's a time and a place for big power tools and that sort of thing, I really do try to source and use hand tools that allow me to connect more with the past, with the art of it as well. That you have to not only know how to use the tool, but you have to also understand why the tool was developed and how the process of using it functions.
Totally, yeah. It's kind of like the film tools that we're using right now to capture this moment and talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, film is pretty damn old itself. And things evolve, but certainly you can shoot on a $60,000 camera, or you can shoot on, an old 8mm camera and still get the same result. It's just telling stories, right?
Yeah.
The same way that woodworking is just building stuff. I'm going to be using this square and this saw, both of which were my father's. He sort of got me into woodworking. He did a lot of woodworking, and I participated in a lot of woodworking around him. He died when I was 20, and I didn't quite get the time with him that I wanted to have. And I think that this is a way that I can connect with him You know, even though he's not around anymore, to do things that we used to do together makes me feel like there is still that connection. There's a presence here as well. And in a weird way, it's almost like there's a history to these tools. You know, they were his tools, he worked with them, now I'm working with them, and it's almost like he is working through me, through the tools. The hours that have been logged with this saw go beyond what I have done, you know, and he even got some of these at yard sales and things like that. So that goes beyond what he had done. Some of these are really, really old. The tool sort of brings its legacy and its work hours through you if you open yourself up to that. It doesn't fit right now, but we're gonna cut the sides off here and here, make a slightly thinner part that will slide onto the mallet head and through it. So next I'm gonna cut the shoulders for this handle, and I'm going to do that with my father's saw. Woodworking is not what I primarily do. I mean, I'm primarily in film, cinematography, editing. But what I found is that especially now, so much of it is creating these digital files that sort of go off into the void, and they're not tangible for me. And so I started doing woodworking as a way to actually have a product that at the end of the day I had something that I could hold in my hands and be like, I did this thing, and I can hand it to you and say, look at the thing that I did. It activates a completely different sector of my brain where I have a physicality that I'm doing. It ends with a product or something that I can look at and say, wow, I did that thing as it sits in a corner of my house. And film wasn't giving me that. And I needed that to help keep me creative.
That's a really important part, I feel like, of being an artist, whatever your medium is having ways to continue to like meet your own needs, your personal needs, because I feel similar. Like cooking for me is kind of a similar way. I've gotten so into cooking, and it's a thing that I can get my hands in. You want to get dirty. Gardening is another hobby that I've picked up recently, you know? And it's a way to like watch something physically become real in front of us. And doing that inspires me for making film, for making videos, for doing that kind of thing, for storytelling in that manner, getting your body into it. I think that's like an underappreciated thing, and it's important to have both of those. I enjoy the digital world so much. I live so much in the digital world, but also I live in the physical. So I need to like fill both wells of sorts, you know, to serve the kind of the greater fulfillment of expressing yourself.
When I was starting out, I had this very misplaced idea that you had to be one thing as an artist. That you were either a filmmaker, or you were an actor, or you were a photographer, or you were whatever, right? Like whatever that thing was. And as I journeyed, I realized that that was bad for my creativity. That was suffocating for my creativity. And I need multidisciplinary art in order to feel fulfilled and keep me engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely relate to that. Like the idea of multidisciplinary is something that I used to feel really ashamed of. I'd be interested to know how you feel about that. But like when I was starting out in film I started with like kind of photography was where I began. And I felt like there was this cultural pressure to commit to just being a photographer or just being a writer, just being a filmmaker, or any of these kind of things. And as I started to get older, I'm like, I just am not built this way. I need to do lots of different things. I like to draw, I like to collage, things that aren't necessarily making me money, that aren't even directly affecting the other things that I'm doing, but it's kind of like a nourishment, you know, like a spiritual nourishment of sorts, to be able to allow yourself to play around with different interests.
Yeah. Man, it's like when you're an artist, you can't have hobbies. There's this weird belief that you can't have hobbies, right? Like you have to always be completely dedicated to your art.
Yes.
Or you're never going to make it,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yes.
something like that, right?
Yes.
And I had to leave all that behind because I was stuck,
Yeah.
you know? I was stuck.
So it's all done.
There you go.
Very cool. It was great to watch the process and see like you using all the different techniques to pull it together, and you were in your zone in that creative flow state, and I saw your dad's saw, which was like really meaningful and beautiful.
Yeah, it's super important to me to build not just tools, but you know, the furniture and whatever I build in this process, that it outlives me. You know, that I'm building something that, just like these tools, is going to extend its legacy beyond just myself. You know, so
Yeah. Good
there
idea.
you go. Yeah.
Talking about legacy and how we're surrounded constantly by things that have outlived us. This house, a lot of these things these tools have been here since, you know, before our time, and will continue to be here after as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested what you think, looking around yourself in your environment, your home, wherever you're staying, and see if you can notice the things that have been here longer than you, and consider what you can add to help make the world more beautiful, a more wonderful place beyond our life as time continues to move on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's go find stuff to hammer.
Let's do it. I'm ready.